Well, good morning. This morning we read from Nehemiah chapter 10 down to verse 21 of chapter 11. First, a great list of names, those who sealed the covenants. All of the leading people are listed, the heads of families, but all of the people agreed. It wasn't enough that the leaders agreed, but they carried with them all of the other people. All those who understood the law, their wives, their sons, their daughters, all who were able to understand, agreed this. Notice that they bind themselves to the law with a curse and an oath. It's a reminder of that passage in Deuteronomy, where blessed are those who keep the law and cursed are those who deny it. And this echoes that same passage in Deuteronomy. This time they say, we acknowledge the blessings that come from obeying the law and the curses or the natural consequences that come from disobeying it. They specified a few areas. They specified particularly that they wouldn't intermarry with the peoples round about. They specified that they wouldn't buy or sell grain on the Sabbath. They specified that they would cancel debts on the seventh year. In addition, they were determined to carry out their responsibilities to maintain the temple and temple worship. They assumed responsibility for offering to the Lord all that was needed, including first fruits offerings and all of the other offerings that they should bring to the Lord, that they will bring them into the storehouses of the Lord. And here is the great verse at the end of chapter 10, which can be our motto too. We will not neglect the house of our God. Let's make that our motto for today. We will not neglect the house of our God. And then into chapter 11. And the people of Israel cast lots to bring one out of every 10 of them to live in Jerusalem. It wasn't desirable to live in the city. They could live in the countryside near their own land. They could enjoy the fruit of the countryside, but instead they were going to commit themselves to live in the city which would be the first to be attacked should enemies invade, should the king consider it a rebellion. To live close to people instead of in spacious villages, they committed themselves to live in the holy city. And of course, they were blessed by that, because you read in the Psalms about the second temple, how delighted people were to come to the holy city. And these people who at first made a sacrifice, but later had the blessing of constantly being in the holy city, constantly being in that place of blessing. Sometimes God calls us to make a sacrifice, but what sometimes is a sacrifice at first is a blessing in the end. Let's not lose this thought, that from the end of chapter 10, that phrase, we will not neglect the house of our God. What does that mean to you today? What does that mean in your life from this morning onwards? The Lord bless you. Amen.